I'm always on the hunt for new and fresh hand management card games. Games that play fast, that don't take a lot of time and have simple rules. One of those games is Montmartre, which actually sits on the art genre. We are playing artists at that age where we're trying to sell our paintings and make a living out of it. It's a game that has very simple rules, as I'm going to show you later on during this video, but it has also a very unique theme, which actually it's rare that in those simple games the theme matches the mechanics of the game. Here you're trying to sell paintings and you have paintings in your hand on various stages, so from the first ideas and scratches and designs all the way till the final painting, and you're trying to get the best deals with the art dealer in order to approach collectors and sell your paintings and get a lot of money / victory points out of it. So it is a very unique and very good looking and elegant, I would say, game on the table. I like the way it looks, and the fact that it plays so fast and so simple also adds points to the game. So let me show you how the game plays, and we'll come back right after for a quick opinion. Let's see how we play Montmartre. This is a set collection hand management game, as I mentioned before, and theme-wise we are at the beginning of the 20th century, and while the construction of the controversial Sacré-Cœur Basilica is ongoing, a much more modest building will witness the birth of an incredible talents. Le Bateau Lavoir, there a number of artists wait for fame and glory. They are often forced to sell their paintings at the Sunday market, since they're not known yet, but hope that they are able to find buyers for the best work through Ambroise Vollard, which is this guy, the dealer, and these are the potential buyers over here. And you will be one of those painters and artists who are seeking fame, and you will look for inspiration in Montmartre. So the setup of the game is very simple. We place the 20 collector cards, which are these are the collectors over here, the wealthy collectors that are seeking to buy paintings. Place them in the center of the table in 4 piles, 1 per color. The value 2 should be on top of each of those decks, so we start from the value 2 and then we go to 4, 6, 8 and 10, sitting on the respective deck. And then what we do next is we place 5 contracts and the figurine of the dealer Ambroise Vollard, which is this figurine. The contracts are set in this way, where you have the white contract with a newspaper, 2 grey contracts and then 2 brown contracts. Following that, what we do is we shuffle the 60 muse cards. These are the paintings. They have this pack, very nice art on the cards, looks fitting to the game. So we shuffle this deck and we divide it. Actually, we give 4 cards in each player before we divide it. So we shuffle it and we give 4 cards to each of the players from the common deck, and then we divide it in 3 equal piles and set these piles in the center of the table. We make a money pile over here with the 27 coins and place them within reach of every player, and then we choose the first player and give them the first player token, which is this nice token with the brush. They keep it until the end of the game. The aim of the game is to find inspiration through the muses of Montmartre and sell your paintings at the best time possible through the dealer, the art dealer. Living from your art is difficult, so you may have to sell some rather cheap or draw sometimes for the newspaper to make an income. I'm going to explain the rules for 3 to 5 players here, but there are some slight changes for a 2-player game, which I'm going to describe at the end. The game is very simple, yet I think it has a very fun and nice flow. So during your turn you have to decide between either to perform the green section, which is paint, potentially sell off and pick, potentially sell off and then pick. We're going to explain them later on. This is a very useful player aid, by the way. Or use the second option to sell and then draw for a newspaper. you do either that side or that side, and each player is going to get one of those handy reminders so they can easily refer to any time. So let's go through the different options so that you understand what you can potentially do in the game. Let's say that we follow the green path, which is paint, sell off, and then pick. Paint, sell off, and then pick. First of all, we start with the paint. Remember, each player starts with 4 cards on their hand. The paint section, which is the green number 1, there in your painting workshop, which is the area in front of each player. Now I have everything squeezed for the purpose of video, but keep in mind that each player has some space in front of them, and this is where their paintings and workshop is located. So from the paintings in your workshop, meaning the cards that are already on the table in front of you, you place the following cards face down. So 1 card from your hand, regardless of its value. So keep in mind, let's say I already had 4 cards in my hand from the setup. So I can either select one of the 4 cards in my hand, whichever, doesn't matter on the value, regardless of value, and click it in one of the sets. We're going to show the workshop how it looks later on. Or you can add to your sets 2 cards from your hand if the value, the total value, is less than or equal than 2. In this case, I can add those 2, which are less than 5 or 5, so 1 plus 2 makes 3. So I add 2 cards, or if I want to add a card with a higher value, I can only add 1. What does it mean, add? The cards of the same style must be stacked on the same pile in a way that allows for each on the table to see the value on each card. The game recommends that ranking them from lowest to highest value, but that's just a recommendation, with the most finished painting on top of others so that you enjoy the art. So I'm going to move this a bit on the side, and let's say this is my workshop here. Yeah, and I can add, for example, if I have already these 2 cards in my workshop, ignore this section. Okay, let's say I have already these cards in my workshop. So what I can do from my hand is I can either add a high value card, for example add the 8 here in a way like that, or add 2 cards, a 2 and a 3, for example, as long as the value is 5 or less, which is fine. Okay, so this is the first section, which is the paint. Actually, I'm painting this way, and I'm getting closer to finishing my my art, my painting. Then you can, if you wish to make room for your workshop, you can sell off some of the paintings at the market. So this is my workshop. I can have up to 6 paintings. That means I can have up to 6 rows, columns with paintings. So collecting up to 6, and what I can do is I can then sell to the market in order to make some money. What I do is I discard 1 or more of my paintings. So let's assume that for example I also had this here. Yeah, okay, so what I can do is I can decide to sell some of my paintings. I get 1 franc per sold painting this way. It's not a lot, but remember, people at the market, as the rulebook says, from that era and age, they also are not the rich people, they're not the collectors, so they cannot give a lot of money. Therefore, I can select, let's say I selected those 2, to sell 2 of the 3 green paintings, and the cards are discarded, and I get 2 francs for those. As I mentioned, keep in mind that when I select to sell off at the market, which is optional, they need to be from the same style. So I cannot pick up 1 card from here and 1 card from there. They need to be of the same style. That's why I sold 2 green cards. Okay. The third, this is this section here. Let me show you. So we are at the sell off at the market, which is number 2. And then the third thing that you can do is actually pick. which is a way of replenishing your hand. At the end of the turn, pick up cards from the same pile until the piles are those 3 here, so until I have 4 again in my hand. So I remember I just sold 2, so my hand now has 2 cards. So I select one of the piles. Let's say I'm going for some more of those, so I need to take from the same pile till I get 4 in my hand, and that's my hand. When 2 of the 3 piles here, 1, 2, 3, are empty, at the end of the player's turn, you shuffle all the cards of the remaining pile with the cards from the discarded pile and make again 3 different piles, so that there is an offer. Now, we've explored the first option, which is the green option. Let's explore the second option, which is the blue one. What we do here is, first of all, we sell to a collector, which is mandatory, and then we're going to draw for a newspaper, which is optional. So let's see first the sell to a collector. You can only sell under 2 conditions. The first condition means that at the beginning of your turn, Ambroise Vollard must not be next to the collector you wish to sell paintings to. So this guy is going to move from one collector to the other, or different collectors, depending on where you want to place him. So let's say at the start of my turn, the art dealer is sitting here. That means that I cannot sell to this collector because I start and the art dealer starts here as well. The second condition is that I need to convince a collector that you must have the style they enjoy. So either you need to have more paintings than any other player, so I cannot sell this, for example, to that collector if I have less green paintings than at least one player, or the paintings of a total value that's higher than the total value of other players. Maybe I have only one, but the value is let's say 5, and the rest of the players have maybe more green cards than me, but their value does not exceed 4, so I have higher number. Again, to convince a collector, I must have in the style they enjoy, so the green collector wants green cards, green paintings, either more cards in value, in numbers, more physical cards from any other player, more paintings in the style that they want, okay, green cards, or a total value that is higher than the total value of the other player's painting, meaning I add the value. If these 2 conditions are met, what I do is I move Ambroise Vollard in whichever dealer I'm choosing to sell, in this case the green one, and I discard the painting with the highest value of the same color of the collector approached by Ambroise. So if, for example, I had 2 and 5, I would discard the 5. If I had those 2 cards, I would discard the highest number because I'm selling to this collector, back to the discard pile, and then I would pick the card on top of the pile of the collector and keep it as a reward, meaning that here this would reward me this collector, which is 2 francs, essentially 2 victory points at the end of the game. I will leave the art dealer here, I will take this card, flip it, and keep it in my stash for adding victory points at the end. Then, following the blue flow again, after I sold the paintings to the collector, which is mandatory, I can draw for a newspaper, which is optional. So I cannot draw for a newspaper if I have not first sold at a collector, the way I described. So the optional draw for a newspaper, each player can use their growing fame to earn a contract. This allows them to draw for a newspaper once per game. When they get the second collector color, meaning if I have another green down the road, so I have the second collector color, then I'm able to pick the white contract. Not the second green, sorry, the second collector color means a different color. So when I have a yellow one, then I'm able to pick the first contract, which is 4 victory points at the end, and keep it with me, meaning I'm awarded 4 victory points. When I get to receive a third collector color, when I get my third collector color, let's say I get this one as well down the road, then I'm able to pick one of those two as long as there is any available. I can either get the 7 or the 3. Of course, if the 7 is available, I'm going to get the 7, which awards more victory points at the end and keep it earned for me. And then the last, if I earn my 4th color, which is the last one I can earn, then I can pick one of those two. Again, it's 12 and 5, and it's a race, of course, to pick the 12, which is many more victory points than the 5. A contract can only be taken during the game turn where a condition is met for the first time. So, this is the flow of the game. I remind you, I can either go and do the green flow or the blue flow, the green flow or the blue flow, and then this will continue until the game ends. The game ends when 2 of the 4 collector piles are empty, 2 of the 4 collector piles are empty, or a player has at least 50 francs in coins, which are victory points, not counting the victory points that are added laterwards for collector cards, which are awarded later. This. So, the end of the game will allow every player to have a total value, and then each player adds the following, the value from the collector cards. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, okay, I got on 2 in this example. The francs that I earned from at the market when I sold my paintings, and the value of any contract the player may have won during the game. I add all this, and the total highest score becomes the most renowned painter, and the most famous painter of this era, and in case of a tie, of course, you share the glory. That's how you play Montmartre. Extremely simple, extremely fun, and extremely easy. The flow of the game is really good. There is a tempo, you don't wait a lot of time between turns of players, and also you're feeling that you have your own workshop in front of you with the various cards stacked and sorted by type, and you're selling them, trying to sell them to collectors to gain points. The mechanics of the game are really robust. It shows that the designer has spent time refining this game without inserting difficult rules or making it non-comprehensive and more complex than it should be. This type of game should be very simple, and the idea is that they need to play fast and boom boom go and make your hand and play cards, and then it's the other player's turn. So there's that. Montmartre does exactly that. Gives a good flow, a good feeling, and an overall fun and enjoyable gameplay. I like the theme, so even though I have a lot of games with hand management, this plays slightly different, and the fact that it looks so gorgeous, I mean, I really like the cards with the different stages of the art and the paintings, adds points to the game. So there's that. This is Montmartre, and I hope you enjoyed this video.